HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
It is Dom time. Big issues, big guests. We're loaded up. This ski mask bill that passed is making national news. We have the guy who's the sponsor of it in City Council at 12:30 today, among other things. But we rarely kick off at noon with a guest, except if it's exceptionally timely and something important and local. Representative Brian Fitzpatrick is a unique guy to be on top of this debate. It's about a Section 272 of the ability of our spy organizations to protect us, but who monitors their level of protection? Does it violate American privacy rights? One little factoid here I'm looking at, the FBI improperly searched for information in a U.S. database of foreign intelligence more than 278,000 times in 2020 and early 2021, say people on the other side. Now, this expires December 31st. So there's a lot of pressure here. It is a line of defense, is the argument on one side. On the other, who watches the watchers? Let's go to Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick here on Talk Radio 1210. Congressman, welcome in, and you're a unique guy on this, given the background. What's the most persuasive argument about controlling this better?
Yeah, good afternoon, Dom. Good to be on with you. It's important to note because a lot of people, including many of my colleagues, are conflating FISA, traditional FISA, which is Title I, which compared to Section 702, which is what is up for expiration come December 31st. So traditional FISA was passed back in the 70s. It created the FISC, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. That's where most of these abuses occurred. So, for example, Crossfire Hurricane, mid-year exam, 2 FISA-related matters involving former President Trump, former Secretary of State Clinton. That is not up for renewal, but that's where the abuses are taking. So what we are doing is we're taking the renewal, the expiring provisions, Section 702, and it's important you and your listeners understand this, Section 702 is a very, very limited program that applies only to foreign nationals who are outside of the United States, and both have to apply. So if you're an Iraqi citizen in New York, we can't use it. If you're a Pennsylvania resident in Paris, we can't use it. You have to be both a foreign national on foreign soil, utilizing our home networks here, Google, Gmail, Facebook, what have you. And that allows us to collect that information. So what we're doing is we're taking the expiring provision, Section 702, we're marrying a reform bill to FISA, traditional FISA, Title I, which is not expiring, and attaching that to a reauthorization of 702. So we're using the reauthorization of 702 to actually fix the problem, which is not expiring, which is Title I.
Well, the arguments of the various civil libertarian groups, and look, I'm not, the ACLU is well-intentioned, but often wrong, is that this is being used, though, to go after Americans in other ways. Is that not true? In other words, I heard what you said, how limited it is per se, but they're going after them for other alleged crimes.
Yeah, so traditional FISA, Title I, absolutely has the ability for abuse, and we saw that abuse with Operation Crossfire Hurricane, where there was an affidavit, the now notorious Steele dossier, which was a product of opposition research from the Hillary Clinton campaign that was utilized by the Department of Justice to get a FISA warrant, a wiretap warrant. That was an incredible abuse. It can never be allowed to happen again. But the irony here, Dom, is that 702 is not the problem. Traditional FISA is, but we're using the expiring provision, 702, reauthorizing that, but coupled with the reauthorization is a massive reform package that permanently changes the FISC, the court system, permanently changes the authorization. It changes the number of agents who are authorized to even conduct these searches. So ironically, by reauthorizing 702 in this manner, we'll be able to permanently make these reforms to Title I, which would prevent a crossfire hurricane from ever happening again. So that's what, and we've been working, by the way, with everyone from Jim Himes to Jim Jordan and everyone in between, both the House Intelligence Committee, which I sit on, along with the Judiciary Committee, which Jim Jordan chairs, and we're working together on this to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table and everybody's voices are heard.
You're aware. I'm glad you came on, though, because, this is a little bit of inside stuff, and I don't understand, but that's Washington, that we have this pressure with a deadline coming up. This should have been hashed out before. But just within the last week, we see in the January 6th investigation, apparently, this demand or this cross-checking of everybody that tweeted anything about it, whether they were in Washington that day or not. What's your sense, seeing it from the inside, about the overall January 6th investigations, punishment, et cetera? How do you see that playing out?
Well, that has nothing to do with FISA, so let's be clear on that.
No, but you know what I mean?
You,
In a broader sense of why people get worried about this stuff. I mean, you're aware of this with listeners, and I'm glad you're separating these two. People are hungry to stop some of the excesses here, and that's why this gets such scrutiny, and that's why I'm asking about January 6th.
Yeah, and that's why Congress has an oversight role over our national security apparatus, the FBI, the Department of Justice, the intelligence community, and that's why we're trying to make these reforms. We're actually going to extend a lot of these reforms, by the way, Dom, to domestic investigations, because one of the concerns that people have, and I say this also with relation to voter ID, Dom, when I'm arguing in favor of it to my colleagues on the left, even if they don't believe it's going to stop fraud, if it restores people's faith and confidence in the system, that in and of itself is a reason to support it, because we have to have that. Same applies to the FBI, the Department of Justice, with domestic investigations. People have to have the faith and confidence that these are independent, nonpartisan, non-political entities. One of the things that I have proposed, Dom, and I'm a former FBI agent myself, as you know, when you're getting onboarded into these federal law enforcement agencies, you go through a rigorous background investigation, including polygraph exams. When you get polygraphed, you're asked about financial vulnerabilities that might make you susceptible to bribery. They look at foreign contacts to see if you're susceptible to being used as an asset for a foreign country. They look at a history of drug abuse. They look at gambling activity. The one thing they don't look at, Dom, is any evidence of political bias. And I think they ought to include that
absolutely
in their onboarding process and in their polygraph, right? I think that's one way to solve the problem, because what we're seeing going on with these pro-Hamas rallies across America, Dom, largely due to the propaganda-filled TikTok app that's being run by the CCP, and already it is being sucked back to the CCP. This is our next generation of FBI agents, of journalists, of talk radio hosts, of members of Congress.
Now, wait a minute. I resent that remark with the talk radio host.
Well,
sorry, you have to strike that from the record.
But hear me out. I think one of the ways we can restore the public's trust in all these institutions, which are critical to our democracy, every last one of them, is we need to start vetting people. We never needed to do this in the past, because our country was never so partisan as it is now. But we have to start doing that, because if people are going into any of these positions of public trust with a covert or overt hidden agenda and political bias, where they're going to use that position, use that office, use the DOJ, what have you, to advance a political agenda, we need to stop those people from getting in the agency from day one.
Well, that would be a great reform. Now, fresh out of the news, I didn't see the full vote. Did you vote to expel Santos?
I did, sir. Yes.
Yeah, in the past, I would have voted to expel him too, but the argument is, shouldn't we let the voters take care of this? What makes his case, because it's rare, right, to expel a sitting congressman who hasn't been convicted, what makes it rise to that level?
Yeah, well, this was a unique situation, because so he had due process through the ethics committee. So there's due process in the criminal realm, which is entirely separate from due process here within the internal rules and regulations of how members of Congress can conduct themselves. So the ethics committee is the only committee in Congress that is equally balanced between Democrats and Republicans. So for anything to move out of the ethics committee, there has to be bipartisan support. not only was there bipartisan support here, there was unanimity, which virtually never happens, precisely because his conduct, Mr. Santos's conduct, was so egregious. So I am of the belief, Dom, that we have to set a higher bar for people that hold positions of public trust, just like I just advocated for in our law enforcement agencies. The public has to have faith and confidence in the people that are here that are going to be, not conducting themselves in a manner that's unbecoming of their office. We don't need to get into all the details of what Mr. Santos did, but I can assure you they were very egregious. I can also assure you that he was afforded full due process. He elected, by the way, not to participate in the Ethics Committee investigation. So he squandered his opportunity to ever tell, his side of the story to the extent he has one. And I just feel, Don, that to not remove him, given the egregiousness of, they're not allegations anymore. These are factual findings by the Ethics Committee, would really reflect poorly on our institution. And I think we need to send a message to all people in positions of public trust, no matter what you're doing, that you have to meet that high bar in terms of ethical conduct.
Parting question, when you get on the campaign trail and you're sort of in your role constantly anyhow, in Bucks County, is inflation the issue that people are coming up and talking about? And what do you perceive as the argument you'll face from the Democrat opponent if you're the nominee again?
Well, yes. I mean, inflation is certainly an overarching issue. A lot of the social issues have risen to the top as well, Dom. I don't know if you saw what happened. Obviously, you did see what happened. I should say that. You follow this stuff for a living. But you saw what happened in Bucks County, in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, in Virginia. We really need to make sure at all times that we are representing the entirety of our district and not just a single segment of our district. And that's one of the things that I've always spoken out against in every election, no matter if I'm running against someone in the primary or someone in the general election. My criticism, by and large, of both of those sides is that they don't speak to the broader electorate. And the public is crying out for lawmakers, I believe, that take a much more open-minded approach to legislating, that they understand that the Democrat process only works when elected officials aren't representing their own personal opinion.
Wait a minute, Congressman, are you talking about abortion and how that played out in 2023?
Sure, I'm talking about a lot of those things.
Yeah.
And the issues in the school districts, played a heavy role. So while inflation is a huge area of concern, and there's no question about it, that is being, in some cases, overcome by some of these other issues for some voters. I want to emphasize that. Everybody goes to the voting booth that are motivated by different issues. Is inflation a concern? 100%, as it should be. Anybody that is going to the grocery store on a weekly basis, going to the gas station on a weekly basis, trying to finance a house or buy a car. This is a very real thing. But Dom, we have to be representatives. We have to be a party that speaks to the broader electorate. And my concern with the approach that many are following, both on the left and the right, is we're becoming so extreme in our politics that 2/3 of America doesn't feel like they have a voice.
Well, as far as the school board, I am a big fan of Dana Hunter and the Central Bucks School Board. I don't think they were excessive at all. On the abortion issue, though, which will come up in your primary battle, I think Republicans have real difficulty here. And I'm wondering what you're saying about it.
Yeah, I mean, I just am against it. I said this on the debate stage in 2022 when I was facing my Democrat opponent. I don't believe in complete bans, and I don't believe in zero restrictions. And that's where these fringe candidates on the left and the right are coming at it. And both of them are wrong. Both of them are speaking to a fringe element on one side or the other. The overwhelming majority of people, Dom, do not want that. They want reasonable rules and regulations that apply to this and apply to everything in their lives. They just don't want.
Let me ask though, because you're actually a practitioner of this and have thought about it. So in Bucks County, which you represent, is there a number? Is that what you're talking about? 15 weeks, something like that, where you think there ought to be restrictions?
No. I think that on the federal side, I mean, ultimately, Dom, what I believe that should happen, and we've seen this work successfully in many of these states, is you eliminate the extreme options on the federal side, right? So you prevent any, conservative state from enacting complete bans. You prevent, any of these, left-leaning states from having zero restrictions at all at any point, even in terms of the 8-month and 29-day situation. And for where we fall in the center of the continuum, put that question on the ballot directly to the voters so that they can decide for themselves. That's what democracy is about. And it's happened in several states. The results have surprised some. It certainly didn't surprise me, but it surprised some because on this issue, Dom, just like every other issue, they want us to manage government the same way they manage their personal households, the same way they approach their personal relationships, that you don't allow the perfect to be the enemy of the good. You come to the center, you build consensus, and you move forward. That's not only is that what America wants, that's what our democracy needs, because this rapid pendulum shift, far left, far right, Hatfield versus McCoy, saber rattling brand of politics is a threat to our country. Our Constitution, Dom, our founding document in and of itself was a product of compromise. The big states came in, they wanted representation based on population. The small states wanted equal states' rights. They said, we're going to do both. We're going to have a House that's based on population, a Senate that's based on states' rights. It was the first of a dozen or so compromises that made up the very founding document that has survived 247 years. That's what we have to get back to.
All right. Well, Congressman, thank you. To be continued. And do you think this will be ironed out before December 31st then? I mean, the protection part of it certainly has to be in position by then.
I do. I think so. We've met with Speaker Johnson several times. He's my classmate, by the way. He and I came in the same year together. And he's, to his credit, very open-minded. He's heard from the members on the House Intelligence Committee, which I sit, and that's a committee that's comprised of people that work in the intelligence community that have firsthand experience and knowledge of this. And to his credit, he's maintained an open mind. He will not let it expire. And he's obviously happy and pleased to see with the reforms that we've enacted. And we brought everybody in. We've brought members across the political spectrum, both on the Intelligence Committee and the House Judiciary Committee, including Jim Himes and Jim Jordan, like I said, and everybody in between. We're taking everyone's input. And we can accomplish both goals. We can fix FISA. We can fix all the abuses that occurred to make sure they never happen again, but at the same time, maintain this critical national security tool.
Congressman, have a great Christmas if we don't talk, and thank you for popping on today.
Have a great weekend, Dom. Thanks.
All right, Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. Dan, I think we see a preview of the primary there, et cetera, and with Mark Houck, and then the Democrat on this. I was going to talk inflation. You went to these other. I don't see the school board as excessive at all, as everybody knows. All right, so 855-839-1210. Give me your reaction to that. This is important stuff. And he wrote an op-ed on this. We saw it, trying to differentiate this one part of FISA, what we just talked about, from some of the other things. And you heard him say, to his credit, that FBI agents and the like should be asked about their political background to see if there's any type of bias being brought to the FBI. I don't know that it'll be done, but that's interesting. All right, let me give you the side question, too. 855-839-1210. San Francisco. Oh. It's hard to believe that we're having this sort of rivalry with a team that just doesn't usually inspire that. You know, there's a couple guys mouthing off on San Francisco. They have a good team. And I think, Dan, some of it's the national pundits still don't believe in the Eagles. Ray Dininger may be here later. Angel, I know, will be on Monday, and we'll be talking about, why don't they believe in it? I believe in it, but it defies probabilities and statistics. You can't explain the Eagles that way. So we're asking today something you identify with or associate with San Francisco. I'm going to say Pelosi and poop. And I think that Ron DeSantis last night holding up the poop map, I would have made more about it. Look at this. Are you saying this isn't, what city puts this up? Now, Dan, I'm not going to San Francisco anytime soon, but my God,
no?
The whole thing was brown. There weren't spots in there. You could be walking around. Could it be that bad?
Like when he first put it up, I actually thought it was like actual feces.
Yes.
I slimed onto the ground. I didn't realize it was an actual map, and it was covered. The entire city was covered of San Francisco. It's disgusting.
Yeah, we have to come up with a Philadelphia map. How many? There's a murder on this corner. You may not want to stay away. That kind of thing.
We don't have a poop problem, do we?
Not like San Francisco. No, not to that. I mean, I've seen some of it, but no, not on that level. No, it's a homeless. It's just out of control. So what's yours? What do you associate with it?
Danny Tanner and his family of Full House.
All right.
Yeah, that intro, it
Yep.
shows all of San Francisco. It's very, very centric to San Francisco. And anytime I see the city, that's the first thing I think of is Full House.
I'll take the Golden Gate Bridge off, too. Just, you're not going to need something a little bit more entertaining, interesting. All right, that's the side question. Give me your reaction to Brian Fitzpatrick on a couple of those issues. 855-839-1210. You get a line. At 12:30, we're going to talk with this new council person, Phillips, who got the ski mask ban passed. Does it tell us that city council's actually taking crime seriously? All right, 855-839-1210.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Governor Phil Murphy now conditionally vetoed the bill that would have eased these restrictions on New Jersey breweries.
He's trying to prevent the breweries from expanding what they offer on their premises.
They're limited to 25 events a year under the current laws.
Okay.
For Jersey, it's a huge issue right now.
You figure breweries would be thriving if you live in New Jersey, because living in a state that Phil Murphy runs would drive you to go drink.
It's true.
Well put.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Doing your financial research and due diligence is imperative these days, given the abundance of risky financial plans and investment scams masquerading as safe alternatives to the stock market. What makes the exclusive crash-proof retirement system different is its proven track record of truth, transparency, and protection from the pitfalls of Wall Street. Crash-proof consumer Alan Ruling, an internal auditor, thoroughly researched crash-proof retirement before investing in 2014 and rests comfortably knowing he made an informed decision for his financial future.
My background is I'm an internal auditor, so I ask a lot of questions. I probably spent a good 12 to 15 hours going through my questions and crash-proof retirement, coming up with answers. You couldn't stump them on any question. And I appreciate Phil and Joanne and the team taking their time.
Register for our next event at the Falls at the Doubletree in Mount Laurel, New Jersey on December 13th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Hey, John Marks here. Birds legend Deshaun Jackson wants to thank you, Philly, for all the years of support. So join me on the Deshaun Thanks Philly Tour presented by Miller Lite and WIP. Tonight's the last night. The last two nights' events were amazing. So join Deshaun today at Kunda Beverage in King of Prussia. And then join Deshaun and yours truly at Barnaby's in Havertown. Pictures and autographs are limited based on availability. For complete Deshaun Jackson details and schedule, go to 94WIP.com. It's Miller Time, Philadelphia. Celebrate responsibly.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
All right, Dom time. Dom's Giordano show. So, Dan, part of our honeymoon, not my choice, but Rose, we went to Hawaii. And then on the swing back, we did stay in San Francisco. I think it was a couple of days.
Oh, you been there?
Yeah, and the weather bothers me. You know what I mean? I'm in California.
Wait, what? No,
I
the weather.
expect a better weather.
Oh, it was bad.
Well, it's not great weather. I've been there several times. It's always like you need a light jacket on, it seems like. You know?
It's Northern California. It has like the rain and the fog.
Yeah, it does.
And,
Yeah.
It's not LA.
I just want warmth and heat if possible when you're paying all.
It's a pretty trash city all around, isn't it?
I wasn't. We broadcast from the then oldest Italian-American restaurant right in Nancy Pelosi's district. And I interviewed people on the street, and they loved Pelosi. Now, it's San Francisco. It gives you an idea, right?
Oy.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe. All right, so that is the side question.
This is not the truth.
That's the side question today. And you heard Brian Fitzpatrick on this FISA thing coming up. And at least he recognizes that people are incredibly suspect of all this stuff because of what's going on with the FBI, Department of Justice. Look, Department of Justice, that's a function of the administration. But the FBI, This is as partisan as it gets in so many levels here. All right, let's go to Bill in Quakertown. He's on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Bill, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Hey, so my point to Brian's point, Congressman Fitzpatrick's point about we should ask FBI agents their political affiliation to get an idea, whether they're bringing that with them to work. I think is way wrong. Is totally off the mark. A better question to ask FBI agents, or a better assessment to make, is: can FBI agents come to work and do their job objectively without, with divorcing themselves of their political beliefs and their political affiliations? Because they have to do their job, I believe, and politically.
Well, but how are you going to determine it? Of course, they're going to say yes. If you ask them that, they're going to say, of course I will. I mean, don't we have to get to the bottom of it and vet out those that are going to be overly partisan?
We do, and I think maybe the way to answer your question, which is a great point, and as I was thinking about this, like, well, how do you do that? And I think maybe you can't initially, but you can ask the question and go, hey, can you come to work and not bring your political beliefs with you? And they'll answer the question, however they answer the question, and then their actions will.
I know, but his point is, and I think it's a good one, we're trying to screen this out, head it off at the pass, because I'm sure Strzok and people like that, I'm sure they didn't broadcast how biased they were, particularly against Trump initially, but we see how out of control it is.
Right. And yep, it is totally out of control. But I think at some point we got to move away from figuring out what your political beliefs are and get to, can you really do the job? And then now here's a word that people don't so much like anymore, and that's accountability. Okay, we're going to you answered these questions this way, and now we're going to hold you accountable to that answer because your actions do not align with your words.
All right, I got you. But look, what he's getting at is we're trying to ferret out as much as we can initially any kind of internal group, particularly at the FBI, that's going to engage in what we've seen. I mean, one of the things that still bothers me the most is the Richmond office of the FBI surveilling and going after Catholics who just wanted to go to a traditional Latin mass. Oh, man, you don't want that. Those are the real deal. God knows what they're cooking up there. Still, they haven't been brought in to answer on that, to get to the bottom of it. Just as one example. All right, 855-839-1210. You'll get a line. Got a lot to say, and we want to hear from you, too, if you actually watched. If you didn't watch, why? The debate last night. All right, is it you have in your mind? I don't care about anything else. Now, it was it's not about DeSantis, and oh, man, that gives DeSantis an edge, even though I think he did rather well. It's the debate, more of these debates. You know how hard it is to get two figures like that, particularly Newsom, to debate, particularly in a conservative venue. And Hannity, even though he was flummoxed, Dan, with the intro and outro and all that, did a job, though, of exactly how to moderate that, which is, so they talk, you know what, Dan, I'm tired of this. They talk over each other a little bit. You know what? Stop it already with that. It's going to happen. It gets heated. They're not in little box. That's 1 minute, Mr. Borowski. Shut up.
Like we can decipher. We're smart enough to know whose voice is who.
It already with this idea.
100% with you.
The problem in the debates are these pesky people hitting buttons and saying 1 minute's up, and too many of these people that don't belong in debates. What the Republicans ought to have at this point is DeSantis and Nikki Haley debating. All right? Now, why do we even need debates? Well, then don't watch if you don't want them. All right? Have them debating a couple more times as a backup in case somehow or another Trump is waylaid by all the legal things that are going on. That's what I think people need to see. We don't need to see Vivek anymore or Christie anymore or whoever these others that are left in there. We've seen enough of it. We know these are the two alternatives, and they should be debating on these issues. But no, getting Newsom there last night debating DeSantis was a big deal. You got to see progressive ideas, how flawed they are, despite a guy who is slick in a debate sense, that being Newsom. All right, I'm very happy. We're going to talk with new city council member Anthony Phillips, who made national news yesterday with Philadelphia banning the so-called ski mask and related items. I have his floor speech here. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
His mask ban about why he's doing it. New council person getting this through. That's pretty impressive.
Having
He's
Sherelle
next.
Parker on as often as we do, it's very
Yes.
similar, his floor speech, to what we hear from
Yeah,
Sherelle.
I'll give you a
It's
couple.
very
Yeah,
nice,
a couple of the headlines. Does it indicate Philadelphia is waking up to this? Hey, join me for a special appearance tomorrow at the Faith and Liberty Discovery Center at 5th and Market Streets in Old City, just across from the Liberty Bell. It's free admission all day. The Faith and Liberty Discovery Center kicks off the Christmas season with tons of fun activities. I'll be there at noon. You can enjoy crafts for kids, hot chocolate, holiday movies, see their Christmas tree and 19th century inspired Christmas train display. You can also meet former Birds player and 5-time Pro Bowler Irving Fryer.
Oh, Irving Fryer.
I just went by there today on the way to get an 8 a.m. haircut. More about getting your haircut at 8. What am I, Henry Kissinger? It's the only time we can squeeze
8
it in.
a.m.
Yeah, 8 a.m. haircut.
Yeah, when they reply with you with that, you're supposed to say no, because they're not
Yeah.
trying to do 8 a.m. either. Come on, Dom. You made the guy show up at 8 a.m.?
That's the only time that it was booked to get in the chair. It's
Gotta look good for Irving Fryer, though.
I have
Come
a
on.
female stylist anyhow. The Faith, and it's not a hair cutter.
Oh,
it's
that's
a
right. It's
stylist.
not a, yeah.
It's
That's
a
right.
stylist.
You switched.
Yeah, the Faith and Liberty Discovery Center is open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I will see you there tomorrow. It's a great spot. You'll learn a lot, have a lot of fun tomorrow at noon.
Bringing in your front line is as easy as 1, 2, key. SEPTA Key Advantage is a unique and valuable transit benefit program that gives your employees all-day, everyday access to the entire SEPTA system. That means your staff can get in for their first, second, or third shifts and even travel the system on their off hours, seamlessly and affordably, all thanks to you. Learn how easy it is to customize a SEPTA Key Advantage program for your team at septa.org/partner programs. That's septa.org/partner programs.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or biglou.com.
The holiday season is right around the corner. Give the gift that's hard to wrap but easy to give. Give them a Steel. Visit your local Steel dealer or go to steelusa.com/gift guide.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Big issues, big guest. The youngest person on city council, relatively new city council member, Anthony Phillips, making national news, Dom Giordano's show, with the passage, I believe it was 13-2 in the end, of this bill banning so-called ski masks, other names for them, in certain circumstances and locales. Let's join the councilman here on Talk Radio 1210. Councilman, thank you. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, Dom. I'm happy to be on with you.
Well, I read your speech on the floor, and it did address, I guess, some of the testimony yesterday. You said you're the youngest member of this council. I'm also a black man in a country that has too often created negative narratives about black men. I am soberly aware of this reality. In fact, that is why I'm so eager for us to pass this legislation today. How would that take away from that negative feeling about black men?
Let me tell you something. Yesterday we listened to
an individual who graduated from a white individual who graduated from one of the best small liberal arts colleges and a law school that is an Ivy League law school in our nation, and testified that he was really concerned about the idea of Black and brown people being in harm's way when it comes to profiling and so forth with wearing these ski masks. And I sat there and I said to myself, you are sitting here next to a young Black man who's wearing a ski mask, but while you're in the chambers of city council, you don't have a ski mask on. So yet, not only that, you went to one of the best law schools in the nation. And in those spaces, are you wearing ski masks? So the reality of the matter is that what I'm trying to say ultimately is that Black and brown young people need better guidance. We need our support. We need our love. We need guidance and support. And oftentimes we have people who have gone on to the best schools, have family members that they would never allow their children to wear ski masks, often mentoring and supporting this lawless and criminal type of behavior. And they think it's okay, but they would never walk into any corporate space like that of this nature wearing a ski mask. And so, yes, as a young Black man, I recognize that there are some inequities in society. Yet at the same time, what we're trying to do with the ski mask bill is actually protect young Black and brown people from being in positions where they can get themselves killed, not by Philadelphia police, but by actually criminals in the city of Philadelphia who, if you're driving down in the car in a ski mask with a bunch of your friends, they're thinking something's about to, pop off, and they're kind of targeting you yourself. So yes, there's a trend that is associated with criminal behavior that doesn't need to exist anymore.
Why did your witnesses or your own sense say wearing this type of ski mask, the particular ones that have become fashionable, what's the purpose of it? As a fashion statement, to protect identity? What do they say?
Yeah, so what they're saying is that, those who oppose this, they're saying that, hey, we're concerned about individuals not being able to express themselves. This is something that's how people dress. And what I'm saying to you is that we believe, Don, you believe in this too. We believe in civil liberty. We believe in freedom. That's what America's all about. However, what we don't believe in is that you can't do things that are going to infringe upon the liberties of other folks. And wearing a ski mask, unfortunately, is a public safety matter. We don't know, the police and Philadelphia Police Department can't tell, they told us, they can't tell the average citizen versus someone who's a criminal. For hundreds of years, anyone, wears a ski mask, for the most part, at 80 degrees of weather, walking down the street, they're up to no good. It's just that clear. And so and now we also notice that the Philadelphia Police Department has said that crime has been on the up since the pandemic, because they can't figure out who, even with cameras, who's committed the crime, because these individuals are wearing ski masks all day, and it's being they're literally walking streets right before they commit the crime. So it's like you can't even get to a point of solving crime because these ski masks are in place.
So you're hoping too, not only in these limited areas to cut down, but you're hoping, and I'm really interested in this part, councilperson.
Yeah.
You're hoping that somehow or another the debate is on, and these kids have a better sense. They're outside their bubble versus that white guy attorney, you're right, who lived in a bubble all of his life. I don't know how you sat there. This guy comes in telling you and others about what this is all about to him. My God, get a better guy to testify on the other side here.
Right.
Yeah. You're hoping this spills over into giving some sensibility of what this looks like to a lot of people, particularly, you said, on an 80-degree day. Look, I live in Germantown. You might know that, no, and I think I have a good sense of things. But if I see 5 people masked and it's 80 degrees out and all, I'm trying to get out of Dodge. I'm getting to the other side of the street because I think there's enough evidence there that this is not a good situation potentially.
Precisely. And what this bill does is by banning ski masks on pretty much every city public property in Philadelphia, such as schools, rec centers. You can't even go to a park. And now most businesses in the city of Philadelphia ban the ski mask. If most individuals know you can't go anywhere with a ski mask, it creates a psychological deterrent that, like, you know what, we might as well just not even wear this thing because people were starting to crack down on this. I actually wanted to find ways to take the ban even further, but trying to convince every member of city council to do that would have been much more difficult. So
Yeah, I hear you, because when I talk with my producer, I'm reluctant to be infringing here, engaging, but it's so difficult in Philadelphia right now. Now, you've been on a couple of national shows. I appear on the one you were on with Leland Vitter quite a bit. You talked about lawless behavior in Philadelphia and lack of leadership. I'm very hopeful with the new mayor, who's frequently on the show, and the new police commissioner. We're going to see a turnaround. But what were you trying to suggest when you talked about the lawless behavior, where it's lack of leadership is what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What I believe is that this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is not about black or white. This is about civility and decency. We can do a better Philadelphia. I also have a confidence in our new mayor and our new police leadership. And I believe that, once this law is implemented, we can really make Philadelphia safer and better. And I have full confidence in that, and astronomically, because what this does is it provides the Philadelphia Police Department with another tool. It's unfortunate because you're right, Don. We should not have gotten to this level where this type of lawlessness became a reality. But between the conflict that our police department administration had with the district attorney and all that and more, things just got out of hand. And, we never had to get to this level because it was just common sense. Like, people knew not to wear a ski mask. Now it became a thing like, oh, we can wear a ski mask and go rob a store and then go in schools and no one's going to say nothing about it. And the next thing you know, you're like, okay, we can wear a ski mask and do something else and something else and something else. And it just became out of control.
So you mentioned the DA, and I'm so glad you came on here. You probably know I am an opponent of the overall policies, and you have to work in concert. And this wasn't a shot directly toward him. You're right. I have a better overall sense of what you're trying to do. But the new police commissioner, I have a lot of good reports on. Sherelle Parker, just the first time I met her, I have a real good sense, the energy and the things that are going on. But I think the DA is sticking to his view of all this stuff. What's your sense of that?
Yeah, I have not reached out to the DA about this particular bill. I have a Don, without even asking, you could have a sense of probably where he would stand. So it doesn't take too much to figure that out. But my hope is that we could find a way to work together. Having different ideological differences doesn't mean that we can't find a way to collaborate and find a way to make the city safe. However, what also his entire office needs to understand is that this uber progressive understanding, like, hey, if we find ways to just here's my problem with a lot of the arguments. I know people and that I work with young people. I know young people that you can give a $20 an hour job. That in a space that they can feel productive and they'd be safe in and so forth. You can give them all the opportunities in the world and they'll still not even take that particular opportunity. And so, because here's the reality, it's like the Bible and Jesus. Jesus did his best to try to save and serve everyone, but not everyone, went that route. So as a result, there's laws and things in place to make sure that, hey, you can't do what you want to do. We're going to try prevention. We're going to try to create the better housing and better schools. All those things are important, but not everyone's going to drink from that water. And so, what do you do? You keep saying, "Well, let's keep trying. Let's keep trying with the same." The kid is now this kid that you knew that was 16. They're now 30. If they ain't got it together, what am I gonna do, right? So
Exactly.
these are the things that they don't really consider often, and that's why we've been really soft on crime, because also people are really good at I've been around this hustlers. They not manipulate a situation when they don't want. When they feel like they start making all the excuses in the world, and then they got people on this uber progressive side. Next thing you know, they're sitting there like, oh yeah, I got them, because they would manipulate the situation.
What areas do you represent in the city?
Philadelphia's 9th district, Sherelle Parker's old district.
I didn't know that.
Makes sense.
Well, the word that she liked the first time she was on, I said we're contiguous, and every time we see her, she brings that up, and that I'm in Germantown, so that's the Northwest. I didn't know that. Well, that's
it.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I
I'm
hope
excited
we have a chance to meet in person. And again, anytime that you have something you want to talk about, we'd love to hear from you.
Thanks, man. We'll do that.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
Councilman.
Thank you
for joining us. Wow. Councilman Anthony Phillips there, Dan. Whoa.
Yeah, give me more Democrats like him, please.
I don't know where he came from here. I got to check the background of how that developed. It's shocking.
Wow.
I am.
Yeah.
Woo. That is good stuff. All right.
That's not something I expect to hear from a sitting Philadelphia Democrat, and it's fantastic
Exactly.
to hear.
And
It's
Sherelle
really
Parker's
refreshing.
old
Sherelle
seat.
Parker's kind of the same way.
Yeah, and you hear what he said bluntly, too? You got this white guy coming in who went to Yale or something, talking about defending the ski mask. Give me a break. And this guy sitting here with his lived experience.
Yeah.
How in the world are you cocky enough to try that?
How can yes, exactly. How can you do that? Like, look someone in the face.
Oh,
it's
because you're
actually
used
lived
to
it. Be
getting
like, oh
away
yeah, I'm
with
going to
it,
tell
yeah.
you how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, give me a reaction to that. We got the side question going on. 855-839-1210. You get on board right now here on the Dom Show. Hey, as the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino.
One leg short.
Right now. Well, I told you go with the over last night.
You did.
Big
You were
time
right there.
the over.
But you did say the Cowboys would, cover the spread, and it was 7 points.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yes.
Yeah. But we got the anytime touchdowns from CD and Jake.
Right.
Jake
and
Ferguson and CD
they
Lamb.
did go for the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cowboys-Eagles game in Dallas. That's going to be. How in the world is it the Eagles could be 10-1, though? And we're looking here saying they got a really tough game this week. Then they have Dallas, so they could be tied inside 2 weeks. That's because the NFL is always
back to this.
They never won a super team. It's always about parity. And not only that, Dan, when is somebody going to take on the NFL? Flexing a game. All those Eagles fans who were going to go to Seattle now would have to take off work and stay out there on a Monday to see
I didn't
the
even
game.
think about that.
A
That's
whole day.
Wow.
A whole day flex.
I've been looking forward to it. I've been pro this flex, but yeah, you're right.
A whole day flex.
Wow.
That's outrageous. All right, but back to the parlays, back to FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. You don't have to be a football expert. You can take a shot at it, and parlays go a long way. The one we talked about yesterday, I think it was $5 to win 50. There's a lot of that and a lot of player prop spreads, everything right there on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/Dom this NFL season. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online, real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Governor Phil Murphy now conditionally vetoed the bill that would have eased these restrictions on New Jersey breweries.
He's trying to prevent the breweries from expanding what they offer on their premises.
They're limited to 25 events a year under the current laws.
Okay.
For Jersey, it's a huge issue right now.
You figure breweries would be thriving if you live in New Jersey, because living in a state that Phil Murphy runs would drive you to go drink.
It's
true.
Well put.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a serious heart condition. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. My HCM impacted how I felt and what I could do. So I asked my cardiologist about treatment advances that gave me new options. That conversation was big for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today and visit hcmrealtalk.com to learn more.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb.
It's that time of year again. Hi, it's George Parenti, the lead dog at the Dogs and Cats Rule stores. If you're a pet parent like I am, you know that the holidays are just as important to our four-legged kids as they are to us. At the Dogs and Cats Rule stores, our goal is to make your holiday shopping easier. When it comes to getting the cutest Christmas-themed toys, collars, and leads, we have absolutely everything. That's Dogs and Cats Rule, now with 7 convenient locations. Shop small, shop local, shop family. Happy holidays from all of us at Dogs and Cats Rule.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we have started a huge renovation. Take our already incredibly generous offers and add an additional $1,000 off all new Volvos, plus owner loyalty, plus up to $2,000 when financing or leasing with Volvo cars, plus $7,500 lease rebate on all plug-in Volvos. This is a fabulous time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo. This month's offers are incredible, and we must make space for all the construction vehicles. Visit us now.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Dom Giordano Show. Boy, that was really interesting stuff with Councilman Anthony Phillips, new guy on City Council. And Dan, we got quite a reaction to my reaction and your reaction on YouTube.
So youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Go like and subscribe, please. Every first hour of every show, we broadcast Dining with Dom, and Dom's live. And one of the side effects of Dom being live on video is you get to see his live reaction to interviews. And it's been a very interesting day on YouTube. We got comments saying, who is it? Fred writes, I love Dom's expressions of shock as the councilman was talking about progressives. And he's 100% right. In the first interview with Brian Fitzpatrick, you see a very pensive Dom. But then in this last interview, both you and I were very surprised to hear how candid Anthony Phillips was about the situation here in Philadelphia. And as it was breaking live, you can see the Dom reaction video. So go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Check out today's Dining with Dom. Go back a little bit during this next break and check out Dom's reactions, because we were both genuinely shocked from what we heard.
Yeah, because first time around with councilperson Anthony Phillips, don't want to get him in the middle of just an all-out Krasner thing. You know, I think people need to be educated a little bit. Talk radio as I see it. Look, we're trying to build relationships over the course of time. We're not just going to be here talking to the choir. It's a broadening kind of thing. And this guy's on to something, because even I had some hesitation. You know, is it a privacy? Is it a freedom issue? But a lot of this stuff just sets up an impossible scenario where you're able to walk around a group of 5 or 7 and then pounce whenever you want. You don't have to put a mask on and figure anything out. You just naturally walk into a place. Imagine being a store owner in this situation.
I don't want to both smoke up your butt or the show's butt, but I like to believe that this show can affect change for real. And someone like Anthony Phillips, a sitting council member who wants to see the community get better, is somebody that can indeed affect change.
13-2 vote, too.
If you were to line him up, you know, face to face with Krasner, if you piss the guy off, he has no reason to come back on the show and, you know, help us make the city better. And he wants to make the city better. So, yeah, you got to keep a good relationship at first, you know, and stay that relationship.
Well, I'm starting to believe there is a growing number of people, Sherelle Parker and others, who are going to challenge Krasner. Now, you know, it's not in a punch in the face manner. You know, they have to be political too. They're weeding people toward it of what a threat this is. That's the way it works. If you expect just that you punch at Krasner and he topples over, it doesn't work that way. Made the point all this week. Look at the Murphys. They're not going to go away just because you defeat them once with the win. This just cocky, out of control Murphy. I'll put 7 of them out there now. So do you just go, oh, I thought this was over, I give up? No, it's a daily fight. It's a daily battle for the future of the country, and even something sacred like our vision of the Jersey Shore. The Murphys don't own that, no matter how much money they have. I just want to see this Tammy Murphy just once in her life challenged in a question. Do they think they can ride all the way to victory with no challenge? Can you imagine, Dan, if she's put in a tough spot?
Save the queen.
Back and forth? Well, I'll get my husband to take care of this. My God. All right. Side question today, too. Get in on that. San Francisco, the opponent this weekend. Something you associate with San Francisco. Bill in Delaware on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Bill, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. It's 30 years in the waiting. I was a longtime listener on WWDB and drive to New York every week and love listening to you.
Well, thank you very much. It took 30 years.
Yeah,
all right.
Why did it take that long to call, Bill?
Yeah, there you go.
And why is it this question that's intrigued you so much to actually dial in?
Well, at my age, it gets a little slower, so I figured before I go, I had to take it off my bucket list.
All right, well, check that out. Good.
Make it a regular thing. Don't make it a one-time thing. Bucket list. Come on.
Get some more buckets. It's raining out. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, what do you have, Bill?
Things.
Yeah.
First is Ghirardelli Chocolates in San Francisco.
Yeah, big fan. Ghirardelli Square or Wharf or what is it there? Ghirardelli.
Well, yeah, it's right across from the Wharf area.
Yes. That's a good one.
So that was definitely my favorite when I was there, and obviously across the bay at Sausalito for some good shopping.
Good stuff, Bill. Thank you. Thanks for what else do you have?
Yep, and then I've run for city council in the historic town of Newcastle, Delaware.
Okay.
And it just boggles my mind how people pounce on Israel and the West Bank and Gaza, but not once have I heard anybody that was interviewed say, you know what, there's some accountability on Hamas's part. I just don't get it. At least suggest that it's not all Israel.
Sure, without a doubt. Well, Bill, please don't be a stranger. Call us again.
Will do.
Thank you, Bill.
Have a great day and an awesome weekend.
Thank you, Bill. Same to you. Ghirardelli Chocolates. Yeah, that's a big thing. Ghirardelli Square, I think it is. Row had to constantly with the Ghirardelli. I'm surprised she likes San Francisco because the first thing she asked, like if we go to the convention this summer, does Chicago have a beach? I said, I don't know about the beach in Chicago. Now, that's going too far.
Yeah, no.
It's always with the beach.
When I was in Indiana, they used to go up to something called Indiana Beach, and it was like a whole thing. It was, let's go sit at the Great Lake and enjoy. I'm like, I grew up with the Jersey Shore. I don't want that crap.
That's right. We need smashing waves.
So Ro wants to go on vacation to see Chicago Beach?
No, she'll go to Chicago, too. She wants to do that.
Ugh,
but the beach
it's not worth it.
The beach is always in the back of the mind. If
you've been to New York, you've been to Philadelphia, you've been to Chicago, I got to say.
We'll see about that.
Different.
Thanks for that downer. All right.
Yeah.
855-839-1210. That is it. Our buddy Anne-Marie Muldoon is coming up now. Toys for Tots apparently needs a little bit of a push. Kind of surprising. But the mail-in ballot heat here in Pennsylvania, we're stoking it. And I just think it's a mission. I'm going to tell you about this group that says they're going to knock on 500,000 Republican doors in the state, is their goal, and get them to turn in a mail-in ballot. When's President Trump going to figure out the way? Somebody's got to counsel him. Just boldly come out and say, we want to win. Do the mail-in ballot. It's so obvious. And this is hard work and strategy. We can beat them. All right, big 1 o'clock hour coming up. Talk Radio 1210.
Hi, it's John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sunday mornings at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210. If you or someone you know has been diagnosed with cancer or undergoing treatments that cause severe fatigue or brain fog, medical hydration may be right for you. Dr. Molly Fantasia of Innovative Medical Associates has more than 30 years experience in helping cancer patients to improve their quality of life.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Nutrients delivered right to the cells support your immune system through surgery, chemotherapy, or wherever you may be on your cancer journey. Visit innovativemedicalassociates.com to schedule a free consultation with Dr. Molly in their Marlton, New Jersey office. And join us on Sunday mornings at 8 and again at 4 for Health Watch to learn more about the benefits of medical hydration for cancer, autoimmune diseases, and more.
This is Larry Steinhetz of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Rich Zeoli. Rich Zeoli.
Senator Rand Paul joins me. It's amazing that we have the FBI working like this with big tech and the corporate media to suppress things like you going after Anthony Fauci over gain-of-function research and the lab leak.
Without question, Elon Musk is right. It is true. They became an arm of the government. They essentially became the censorship arm of government. My job would be a lot easier if I could find an honest progressive who remembered that they used to be big defenders of the First Amendment.
Rich Zeoli, weekday afternoons 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app. On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
All right, welcome in, everyone. Dom Giordano Show. Coming up, this group called the Citizens Alliance is doing a great service to all of us. I'll give you all the details. But what I think they're indicating is, and Dan is on this, we'll see if the head of the Pennsylvania Republicans deigns to ever come on the show and explain to me why we can't get mail-in balloting done. All it takes is just urgency, drive, and I'll be so bold to say, Dan, as a side job, put me in charge of it, buddy. I know who to go to. I know what to do. And we're going to get a percentage that's going to beat Democrats in Pennsylvania in 2024. If you don't want to do that and you don't understand it, get the hell out of the way. It's just that simple. Let's see if this guy comes on. And I'll shut up for 2 or 3 minutes and let him explain himself. And then we'll debate whether this effort is worthy or not. Think of how life-changing that is. And I'm going to tell you a reason why. And Dan spotted this. Great friend of the show, Anne-Marie Muldoon, who's been so helpful on so many levels, other than her Bruce Springsteen worship, which is great show fodder.
Like 40 plus times.
That's great show fodder. She helps the show. She really is the queen of Mayfair and all the things that go on. And she's a driving force for Toys for Tots. Just an impeccable type of thing of goodwill. Dan, she's coming on today because we always do that and we want to pump that up. But sadly, in the comment section, you told me on Facebook, I guess, people are essentially directly by name saying, well, they're having trouble providing toys for their own kids this year. And at least they see what the problem is. They're blaming inflation.
Yeah, so NBC 10 ran a story a couple days ago, or yesterday, on this, because it's really become such an issue. They write in the caption, after filing orders from area nonprofits, Toys for Tots in the Philadelphia region is so low on donated toys that organizers worry local families will go without this holiday season. And the comments are even sadder than the story itself, to be honest with you. Like, the story is horrible. But Rebecca writes, and we are barely affording things we need to survive. We can't afford toys for our family either. I'm sure we aren't the only ones. Tracy writes, and I can't afford stuff for my own family. Inflation is so high. I'll be lucky to have Christmas myself. I would love to donate and normally do, but this year, sadly, charity starts at home first. Mariana Elena says, sadly, it's because prices on everything are insane right now, and many of us are struggling with children, even struggling to provide it for our own this year. I usually donate toys to organizations, but I can't afford to this year. It's sad to read those comments.
It is. And I don't want to drag Marie, even though she's fine politically into this, but it just enrages me because I know the backstory with all this. I know how it was created. We talked about it right from the beginning. These historians, Joe Biden, go big, spend all this money, screw everything up. And he wants to continue it. And he wants to tell you everything is fine. This is just another example of it. So that means they need even more help this year. if you can, than ordinary because of people who might, they're looking at this and saying, hey, maybe I have to apply for it or I need that, given all that's going on. So as Christmas comes toward us, what kind of Christmas is this? Now, you hear all these people saying, stop the whining, while you conservatives on this type of stuff. So these people are just making it up. They're whiners, huh? Let's go to Anne-Marie Muldoon, who's captaining this. Anne-Marie, welcome in. Give us some metric of where you are at this time usually and where you are this year, given some difficult circumstances.
Hi, Dom. Hi, Dan. How are you?
Good.
Yes, right now we are behind on our toy amount to fill individual families. So at this point in time, we have usually filled all the nonprofits first. We do those first because a lot of toys are sent from the foundation, so they're duplicates. So we send those out to the nonprofits first, so it's an even scale of toys. We are now trying to we're sweeping our boxes that are out all around the Philadelphia area, and we're trying to bring in the toys now for the families. And before I get started on that, if anybody is an individual family and needs toys, please go to the website. It will be open for individual families until December 17th. If we have toys, we will fill individual family orders. And the website is philadelphia-pa.toysfortots.org.
Say that one more time, Anne-Marie, please.
Philadelphia-pa.toysfortots.org.
Toysfortots.org. Okay. And give us an idea of the toys you could use. That are they brand new, out of the box? Are there specific toys?
Everything has to be brand new and unwrapped.
Okay.
Right now, we are in need of all ages, boy and girl. We have collection sites all throughout the city that are for safe drop-off locations. We have every Philadelphia police and fire station. We have every Philadelphia NovaCare. We have every Philadelphia location of Planet Fitness. We have every Philadelphia location of Chicky and Pete's. And
wait a minute, right there alone, that's like 50 spots.
Like listeners, go grab a beer and drop off a toy.
There you go. That's right.
Exactly. So if you are going to Chicky and Pete's to watch a game this weekend, bring a toy. We also, Father Judge High School, if you have a child in Father Judge High School, St. Dominic's grade school or St. Jerome's grade school in Northeast Philadelphia, you can send your toy in with your child. They are all collecting. Father Judge is collecting for teenage boys because that is always the lowest demographic that we hit. So we figured let the boys' school collect for the boys.
Ah, very nice. And look, Anne-Marie, this is just one of the worthiest of charities. And if it's having trouble, that gives us an indicator of exactly what's happening out there as we head toward Christmas.
Yes.
Again,
our boxes are low, Dom. They're low. We had the older gentlemen who were in the Marine Corps League detachment, and they went out and swept boxes yesterday and the day before, and the boxes are low at this point in time. So once we do get a full collection in on December 8th or so, December 10th, we'll have a little bit more to figure out at that point how many individual families we should be able to do. But if you can fill up our boxes between now and next week, that would be wonderful.
And again, the place to go for all those sites that we mentioned, again, give the website. Where do they go?
Philadelphia-pa.toysfortots.org. There is cash donations available. And while I have you, I would like to just mention, we have the opportunity for the first time ever to keep our warehouse where we could function all year round and get a head start. We could do Christmases in July. We could do collections during the year. We could still birthday gifts maybe for somebody who's not able to buy toys for their child for their birthday. And we do fill toys for victims of fire all year round. So if we could have a website, if there are any corporations or companies that would like to make a large donation to Toys for Tots so that we could keep our website at the end of the year, they might need a tax write-off. I'm just going to put that out there.
Good stuff. While we have you here, Mayfair, what's going on in Mayfair right now? We haven't heard anything awful.
No, it's been a little bit quiet, thank goodness. We do have the Mayfair tree lighting this Sunday. I believe it's a rain or shine event. I'm hoping the rain holds off. You could go on the Mayfair Civic page to find out if there was a postponement due to rain. But as of right now, the tree lighting is going to be from 2 to 6 on Sunday. I'll be there with the Marines collecting toys. There'll be vendors and music and a lot of holiday festivities, food trucks and different things like that. It's a nice time. It's a very nice time.
Well, 2 to 6, that the Eagles still might be coming back at that point. So maybe extend it to 7. When the Eagles win, you'll get a lot of toys.
Then we get everybody a Cotman in Frankfurt. Yes. If the Eagles win, we get the Cotman in Frankfurt. Yep. But we will be out there collecting, and a lot of the local businesses have signs in their windows, and they're collecting also up and down Frankfurt Avenue. Anybody after, if they don't find a box, you can always bring it to my office. You can bring it to the Philadelphia FOP. They have a box there waiting. We kind of do the last minute toys that come in.
Well, Anne-Marie, let's hope we can get a nice number around this. Again, our listeners are incredibly generous, and this is one of the worthiest charities imaginable, particularly this year. So let's
the number for Toys for Tots is like 97% of all donations go directly to the toy program.
Yeah, let's talk once we see another week or so and see where you are, and maybe we'll have one more last minute push.
Absolutely. And individual families can go on until December 17th and register. If we have toys, we will fill orders. And also, Dom, on your side question, I was working, so I don't know if anybody said Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat.
Oh, that would have been a possible winner.
That's a big one,
I don't know if we get that. Is very good. Now, how many Bruce Springsteen appearances for you?
48.
Oh, God. Oh.
Every time something happens with Bruce Springsteen, I send it to Dan and say, here's another thing for Dom to bust on me about.
How tough is it to be at 48 and the guy postpones his concerts? Didn't you have it lined up to get your 50th? And the guy...
Yes, 49 and 50 would have been in August, and we had third row tickets.
Oh,
but we'll wait till next year. We'll have a good time.
All right. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Thanks,
guys.
All right. Thanks for all the great work. And Dan, thanks for tracking down that NBC 10. So it's not me saying it. It's people telling NBC 10. How much does it take on this issue? It is stunning. Let's talk, though, about the road to stop this nightmare with Joe Biden. And the part that we can do is to try to turn up the heat on the Republican Party in Pennsylvania. Now, tomorrow, and I haven't looked at my directions yet here, Dan, 1810 Venango Street I'm headed to. I got another event in the afternoon, but I think
East Venango, by the way.
East Venango.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
yes. West, I might end up in the Badlands. But Scott Presler is going to be there. It's a door knocking / training. This guy has done great work all over the place, had real good success. We talk about this all the time, and I'm going to tape some of it, bring that back on Monday. This is the road to victory. It's such an obvious thing. I don't know how many of these metrics we could give that point to this. So what has to happen is we have to see organizations, and we'll get them on the show, like Citizens Alliance. Their CEO will be hiring door knockers to pound on 500,000 likely Republican doors to boost results. The initiative, they say, is a reaction to the failed efforts of the establishment Republicans. Here they go again. Now, I think deep down, these guys either think it's beneath them or they don't get it, or they don't like the fact that they didn't come up with it. Go to hell. This is about, all this just excitement around Trump and all the rest of it. It's not enough. How many times do we have to say this? It's not enough to win in Pennsylvania in this environment. Democrats have the surety. Here's what they do. They bank the votes. So they have those votes, and then they are allowed to go after voters that they wouldn't have the resources if they were trying to drive their own to the polls. That's how this works. Trump has to say more. There has to be more pressure, and Trump ought to be one of the people pressuring. If these Republicans won't do it, then the resources have to go to others like Presler, Ethan Kay, and these others that we bring you that know how to do this. It's a recipe for success. In here, the one guy that's the CEO of this, Cliff Maloney, says, as a former math teacher, I see a glaring numbers problem. Republicans only received 20% of mail-in ballots in 2022. down from 23%, a massive disadvantage. Here's the silver lining. Even with these crazy margins, we almost pulled off the win. To win in 2024, the math shows us that we need Republicans to win 33% of mail-in ballots. Chasing ballots legally means knocking on 500,000 doors. It's a massive task. It's one that must be done. They're not just knocking on a door. Hey, how you doing, Dan Borowski? They're getting people to get the mail-in ballot, and then they're following up on that until they check it and know that it's in, or at least the person tells them that. Or they can check it and see if it's in. And then when that happens, they can move on to other targets. Why is this so difficult? I get it. I still get people on social media. Well, they can throw the social ballots. This Lynn Landis woman all the time with this stuff on my Twitter. They can throw the ballots away. I don't. Keep losing then. Last night's debate, Dan and I talked about it before. We're going to talk about it now. Was a good barometer to show you even a guy who looks that good, is slick. I've had him in studio, Newsom, could not offer much of a defense of progressive ideas in California. He just couldn't. Now, I'm not saying DeSantis was overwhelming. He was good, though. And the way he prosecuted it, the stuff that he showed, the father-in-law thing, we'll play all that coming up. It's so doable. Their ideas haven't worked. They won't work. They cause misery, like not enough toys for Christmas with inflation. So what's the problem? They're good at one thing, though. They're good at getting their vote. Now, look, I'm sensitive to their illegalities, places like Philadelphia, too. But I'm talking about even legally. They're working the system well. I got to give credit. When I look at the enemy and I see them out there with iPads as people come out of the 2023 vote, registering them for mail-in ballots, the ones they knew to be Democrats, right there on the spot. We're still processing the results of 2023, and they're registering people on the spot. It's a game, too. And the game is to win that. Only 33% is needed. This guy calculates. That's not impossible. 855-839-1210, AT&T and Verizon Wireless. All you have to do is just push pound 1210. So we'll bring you some of that sound on Monday. I'd love to get your reaction to this. What possible objection do people have to this still? And if they're not objecting, then why are we losing to Democrats so badly? I mean, they have had a head start. I acknowledge that. I would just spend a lot more money on this than on TV ads and staff and all the rest of it. That's what the Citizens Alliance is doing. And I'm looking at this news report, and they're saying, we have to do it. The establishment Republicans just won't do it. Can't do it, won't do it. We come back to that again. So we're going to throw our hands up and lose in 2024, not because of ideas, not because of the way the country should go, but because of the fact they are banking these ballots. It's maddening, isn't it? To see this play out. Another day goes by. This ought to be the Manhattan Project. It ought to be, this is war, and we're not going to lose, and we can't lose. I'm not even saying, well, my goal would be to get one more mail-in ballot than they do. But 33%, that's all. That's all that's being asked for here. Is Trump aware of this stuff, do you think? Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes it's just the entertainment factor, the rallies, and all the other stuff, and we'll overcome it. No, you won't. 855-839-1210. You get on board. Hit us with your thoughts on that. And Anne-Marie Muldoon, just one of the very best people as far as neighborhood, et cetera. All right, we got a lot more coming up, and I'll give you some more stuff. If you watched the debate last night, what did you see? This was big. Yeah, Ron DeSantis most likely is not going to be the nominee, as even Newsom said. And Newsom, I don't think, is going to be the nominee either. But seeing these two together, just this type of exchange, it exposes how these ideas are just fraudulent. Even with a guy who's slick, confident, in the big ring. I'm talking Newsom. Who could defend those ideas? I don't even know. I'd love to debate, but how could you defend what they've done? It's not possible. All you can do is deflect for an hour and a half. By the way, it's apparent his wife pulled the plug. It'd be like Maisie or Rowe jumping into the ring. No overtime. Hannity wanted overtime. So did DeSantis.
Yeah, what was that about?
She jumps into the ring and says that DeSantis cheated because he had the poop mat up, claiming you couldn't use props. I don't know that anybody said you couldn't use props.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's BS.
I always like a good prop at a debate.
So if you're an advisor to Newsom and you're looking back on last night, good idea, bad idea?
Still a good idea.
For him?
Yeah, puts him on the national map as an alternative.
But puts him on the national map as a moron.
I don't see it that way. No, not way. That's with Republican voters, conservative voters, etc. But with people that might be looking, they don't want Biden. He's the one that got the national. He didn't look incompetent.
You're right.
It's that it's indefensible. But he didn't look. He looked good. Compare that to Biden shuffling to the thing.
You don't think though that Democrats out there are looking at Newsom and a lot of his answers? We were talking before the show. I thought they were kind of shallow. There wasn't much depth. Like once they pushed him a little bit further, he kind of fell flat on his face. You don't think though that there are Democrats on the internet today saying he's not a good soldier for our values because they still stand by that their values have depth, even though we truly know that they don't?
I didn't see much of that.
Okay.
I think they're looking for anything that's breathing better than Biden, and he looks good. He's younger, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think his hair is a bit overrated. I see a little receding.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
I saw it too.
Yeah.
Might have to go to Miss Kim.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he needs Phil Murphy's.
Yeah, advice from Phil.
That's one thing. If you imagine Newsom's hair standing next there to Phil Murphy's. All right, 855. Hey, comb your hair, buddy. 855-839-1210.
Would you say that Newsom's wife is on the
Poop Patrol? Yeah. She jumped into the ring. That's it. No more overtime. Hannity won, too, for his show. I bet the number's pretty good. And DeSantis won. Not that it makes him it doesn't change the equation of being the nominee. It just showed, though, that DeSantis actually can debate, has the gravitas, has the details. If he were, I think he would take Nikki Haley apart if it's actually one-on-one. 855-839-1210. That's how you get in.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Everyone on your list is going to be happy this year if you take my advice and do what I do and let